Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Cats Out of the Bag Mother's Day special. I'm super excited to be joined by my friend Sarah, who is a mother. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
So we actually had a very cool conversation, and I really felt like this needed to be an episode. I'm like, this has got to be recorded because not only could it really help a lot of people, but it really kind of it sparked something in you. I mean, like really and truly, that was the cool thing. And so let me turn this way so we can chat. All right. So what we had talked about was how the conversation started was we were talking about frustration and feeling like we're not exactly where we want to be. And I mean we as a collective, not I mean and us obviously. But like having that frustration and that feeling like it's like you see your life is meant for more, or you see like maybe an alternate version of yourself where you're succeeding and but you're like, how do I get there? Like, and there's like this frustration and there's this tension, almost like, man, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I want to be yet. Like, I've worked so hard. How come I haven't gotten there? That type of thing. And we were having this discussion, and this is what I call the fairy godmother theory. So this is a theory that literally this has to do with quantum jumping. So scientists have actually proven that there is a really strong possibility that we have alternate lives in parallel universes. So literally our doppelgangers, our twins, our counterpart in another universe, in another complete parallel universe. So that's a very high likelihood. And so my theory is that we are experiencing life simultaneously on these parallel universes, and telepathically, of course, we'd be connected to ourselves. Like, of course, we'd be connected to the alternate versions of ourselves. And if we are connected to that alternate version of ourselves telepathically, then there's a likelihood that that's what we're feeling when we're frustrated, or we're feeling I want more. I feel like I should be further along, or I feel successful inside. How come it's not reflecting in my bank account, or with my relationships, or in my career? Like, but in those alternate realities, we already are. We're experiencing that. We're experiencing the success already. We're experiencing the perfect relationship. Because there's infinite possibilities of us in these other parallel universes. So in those parallel universes, there's every version of us that's already made it. And you kind of just went, oh my God. Like, I mean, your reaction was so strong to that. Do you remember what you had told me when we were talking about that?
Yeah, I feel like I have known about this from the time I was a kid, but I couldn't put my finger on what it was that I knew to be true and who to talk to about it, because nobody in my family did any of this woo-woo stuff or understood anything other than physical, work, school,
Right.
manifest. You have no control over your life. You give all your power to the doctors or to, the government and people that are in charge.
Right.
And there was this knowing that I had from the time I was young that there was more and that I was more, even though I couldn't physically manifest it.
Yeah.
Hang on to it, grab it, touch it. It was just like, but I knew it existed.
Yeah.
And so when I talk to you about this, it resonates. It vibrates within my knower, to be true. And I know
I love it.
that there. I've heard in Abraham Hicks that there's this vortex, right?
Yeah.
You do the work, the manifestation, like I am abundant, I am, I am healthy, I am whole, I am loved and
our
loving.
Affirmations and incantations are our energy work doing
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But why isn't it manifesting?
Right.
Like, why is my bank account still, at zero? Like, why isn't it not manifesting? And so when you were talking about this, that there's this parallel universe,
Yeah.
it brought tears to my eyes, because it's this thing of like, it takes a while to understand. It's not something that you can just read about and then, oh, you get it.
Right.
It takes work, and it takes a lot of like cleaning up of old programming,
Right.
of old, like, what you've been told by your parents and your
Right.
parents' parents and your brothers and your sisters and everybody at school. It's this unlearning of everything that you've been told, that you're not enough, that there's not enough, that you are categorized into this one box, like you are disabled, or you are poor, or you are, of lower class. And
Yeah, you don't have enough knowledge, you don't have enough
Right.
skill,
Yeah.
you're not enough.
Right. And so I've been on a journey, of cleaning that up, of doing those affirmations, doing the gratitude, turning my focus degree by degree, and keeping that ship, moving a little bit at a time in the
Right.
direction that I know I should be going, that I deserve to be going, that I
Right.
want to be going, that,
Right.
that is for me, that is
Right.
going to line me up with that higher path.
Which could be exhausting, which is a lot of work, which is worth it.
Worth it.
However, how nice to know that that version of you that's already made it is already out there.
Yeah.
It gives you hope. It gives you a chance to feel like, oh my gosh, this is possible, because that alternate version of you already is out there. And because it's already out there, we can actually connect with and tap into that version of ourselves and start integrating with that version to actually bring what we want into this manifested reality. Because not only is it woo-woo and spiritual, but it's actually very scientific, because everything is a frequency and a vibration, even our parallel universes. So if we have these capacities out there, there must be a way to it, right?
Right.
So one thing I thought would be really fun and helpful, and we didn't even go through this yet, and one thing that you did bring up that I want to touch on before we do this quick little exercise, is you had said too that you had a hard time talking with people about this because people either didn't understand or didn't feel like, maybe they thought you were a little crazy, which I get that. I mean, whatever. I'm over it now. Like, I'm weird. It's okay. I don't mind. I'm cool with it.
And I find more than anything, it's my assumptions that they think that, because a lot of people actually really do crave this knowledge.
I agree.
And they crave for things to be true,
right,
that people have told them, you can't sink your teeth into that. It has no substance.
Right.
Well, it's become scientifically proven, and it's being proven by many people every day.
Astrophysicists and scientists and people doing the work around the world. That's the cool thing, is all of a sudden now it has validity. It's like, oh, the hippies were right. Oh my God, like the woo-woo people, actually, there's something to all of this, and it's so cool. To me, magic is when science and woo-woo comes together. Like, that spirituality and that science coming together, to me, is life magic, truly. And so one thing I had mentioned to Sarah about these conversations is, don't be disheartened when someone doesn't jive with you or agree with you or support you in any way, because they're in a different part of their journey. They're in a completely different part of their journey than you are. And it's kind of like reading a book. Like, you can read a book and get what you get out of it, but then read the same book a year later, and all of a sudden you're like, where'd that chapter come from? Where'd that information come from? Because your brain is more evolved. Your brain has actually grown to now you can understand and you can take in that information where before you just breezed over it because you weren't in a place to accept that information.
It's like you've primed your brain. You've primed
100%.
the receptors to embrace it.
Hey, she
Yeah.
primed the receptors. Yes. And so the priming matters. And so when you're evolving your brain and you're learning and you're growing, then you can start taking on more of this information. So don't be disheartened when you're talking to people or telling people stuff. And you don't have to tell everybody everything. We don't have to. I
Yeah.
know as women, we want to share, we want to love, we want to give, and as nurturing people in life, mamas and those who are like mamas, who emulate that energy, we're givers. We want to give, we want to help, we want to heal, we want to, see everybody win together. All the rising tide brings all boats up together. We really emulate that. And so I want to teach one thing that I think could be really helpful. And this is super intro, this is super beginning, but it is something that can help a lot of people. And I'm going to be teaching more about quantum jumping. So if you guys want to get more of this, if you really want to integrate your parallel lives and learn from the versions of yourselves that are already succeeding, make sure that you're following my channel, subscribe to my channel, and please share this. So it's important to get this information and this knowledge out there. I really want to help people to integrate themselves to their highest versions so they can be happier, healthier, and then share how to do that with others. So the quickest way to practice this quantum jumping is by daydreaming. And I know it sounds crazy because everybody's like, oh, don't be a dreamer. Like, especially when you're little and you're like going off in la la land and you're thinking of all the wonderful things that this life holds. People would tell you not to be a daydreamer.
Just don't do it in math class, guys.
Right.
Just don't do it in,
that's legit. That's legit.
Make time for it.
You never know, because that actually could be a little more helpful than math. But I didn't school's wonderful. Don't get me wrong. I have a bunch of family that's teachers and school's amazing. So, but you got to do what's right for you. So in daydreaming, one of the healthiest ways to do daydreaming in quantum and using quantum jumping is literally just putting yourself in a very peaceful state when you have a few minutes and you can kind of relax and you can maybe just close your eyes and just take deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth and just get in a relaxed state, because it takes your brain waves from beta to alpha. And so you get in that relaxed state. And then imagine yourself in a hallway. And this hallway at the very end has a door. And when you open this door, the alternate version of yourself, your doppelganger, your counterpart, your twinsy, who is already successful and has what you want, is on the other side of that door. So you make that jump, that quantum jump into that area where you are, and you start to have conversations with yourself. You ask yourself questions. How did you do this? What do I need to know? What do you have to tell me? What do you have to share with me about how you got where you are now? And you start having these conversations with yourself. And then when you get a word, a phrase, a sentence, a whole, dictation, whatever it is you tell yourself, it could be visual even. Take it and go, oh, okay, I'm going to take this back and now I'm going to implement this. And so you jump back into your hallway, you close the door, and then you come back to this time and you start implementing what was told to you, whether it's patience, whether it's doing the podcast you're supposed to, whether it's taking those steps that you're supposed to do, or maybe it's a completely reframe of perspective. But daydreaming into your parallel lives is incredibly valuable. So using the daydreaming to connect with your twinsy, your doppelganger, your other self, is vitally important in learning how to quantum jump. And at the beginning, it kind of just seems like, how is this actually helping? But the thing is when you, and another thing, there's something that's called a Bagua. It's BAGHUA, I believe, or HA. I'll get the actual spelling of it. But it's having something that is when you're putting an intention out there, you're actually doing something. And what I learned of this bagua is putting my tongue, touching the tip of my tongue to the roof of my mouth just for a couple seconds while I'm imagining my intention and saying my intention in my mind. So this is going to work out for me in this way. And I have that the bagua, you use the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth, and it anchors it. It's an anchor. And so that helps while you're doing your meditations or while you're doing your daydreaming. So I am going to connect with my future self, and I'm going to get something of value to integrate this successful version of me into now. And you do your bagua. And so you're setting your intention, you're doing a physical act, and then you jump into your you go through your door, you jump into the realm of your successful self, and then you come back and you start integrating and bringing those tools back. And you just keep practicing. So that's something that you guys can do to start your quantum jumping. So that's really all I wanted to say for today is have faith that when you're feeling frustrated or you're feeling like there's more to you, that there is. It's true. There's go.
Yeah. I have had hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
And so this is very familiar.
Yeah.
It was during the COVID 2020 days where you couldn't go to a counselor or go to a hypnotherapist, so you did it through Zoom. And so I'm laying on my massage table. I'm a massage therapist, so I laid on my table.
She's an awesome massage therapist.
Thank you. So I put my iPad up, and she led me through this visual of doing exactly what you said, but connecting to little Sarah. Myself when I was broken, myself when I felt that pain that I was struggling with to this day, about my grandmother passing. I love you, Moo. And
I know our guardian angels.
Yeah,
Happy Mother's Day, guardian angels.
That's exactly what I learned through that session, is that she said she's not gone. You can have a conversation with her.
Yeah.
Introduce her to your children.
I love it.
And it was just so healing to me that I could talk to her as though she was sitting right next to me. I could have a conversation with her, and that wasn't weird. That was like,
I do that with my mom all the time.
It's so healing.
Yeah.
But what is exciting, because I've done that work, I've never thought about trying to look into future Sarah.
Hey.
So fun. I'm kind of excited about that. And what I'd like to ask, if you're willing, is to do kind of a prompt, almost like a meditation, where you could talk somebody through
absolutely
that, and so they could just have you in their ear, and they are laying down and they're meditating, because I work really well when I have a guide, when I have somebody talking me through, because my mind tends to wander. So that would be amazing.
I will record a session. You guys hear it here first. I'm going to record a section for doing this quantum jumping, and we'll actually go more in depth, and it goes more in depth than the daydreaming. So this is just an introduction. This is something you can do easily right now. So we'll definitely record that. But thank you guys for listening today. Thank you, Sarah, for being here. I know, I love you too. So cool.
This is my fairy godmother.
I love being fairy godmother. And happy Mother's Day to all the mamas out there, and those are like mamas who took on that mama energy. I love you guys. It's a beautiful blessing to be in that mom energy to somebody. So thank you for taking that on, and I hope this helped in some way. Remember, you are possible, because you're already out there possible. You're already out there in a parallel universe doing exactly what it is you want to do, already feeling fulfilled, already having the relationship or the career or the finances or the joy or whatever it is, letting go, releasing. Those versions of you are already out there. So all we need to do is learn how to connect with those versions and bring in that energy and integrate it and start living that life now, because you're worth it. So I love you guys. I believe in you, and I will see you on the next episode. Until next time, lots of love from Fairy Godmother.